Hello, my name is Sharon Carell, and I want to tell you a little bit about my involvement in the Convention of States project. I've been involved in this movement for about 6 months, and I never really participated in politics before, but I'd become really troubled by the direction that I'd seen our country moving in, and I got very discouraged because I didn't really see any solution. And when I happened across the Convention of States website and I read the goals and I read about the process, I knew immediately that this was a powerful approach to fix some very serious problems in our country. One of the problems that I'm especially concerned with has to do with the power and overreach of the Supreme Court. Today, the Supreme Court can and does, in effect, enact legislation by fiat and even amend the Constitution by fiat on profoundly important social issues. As a person of faith, and I'm also a member of a faith-based nonprofit organization, I'm very troubled by the willingness of many on the court and in power to redefine religious liberty, one of our most fundamental and our first freedoms, to redefine it to something that they call freedom of worship. And what this means is that it applies, say, within the church walls or in religious exercises. But it has the effect of silencing voices of faith in the public square, requiring them to acquiesce to secular values that shape majority opinion. In effect, it requires them to bow before the secular God of the state. And this reminds me of the early Christians who lived under the Roman Empire and were required to recite Caesar as Lord. And that little compromise was something they were so opposed to that they were willing to face lions in the Colosseum. The Constitution doesn't contain the checks and balances that we need to restrain this kind of judicial activism. The battle over Neil Gorsuch's appointment shows the immense power that we know a single member of the Supreme Court has, way beyond anything the framers imagined or intended. Members of the court have themselves stated multiple times that the only realistic check on their power is their own internal sense of self-restraint, and that's a problem. So an Article 5 convention would provide a way to shore up the checks and balances that we need on the judicial system, and it could even provide an override mechanism at the state level to deal with a Supreme Court that strays into the realm of tyranny. We usually associate human rights violations with countries like Iran or China or North Korea, but in fact, restrictions on freedom of speech and freedom of religion at an unacceptable level are happening in places like Canada and also Europe. And when they happen in the U.S., we cease to be the nation that our founding fathers envisioned and established. We cease to be the United States of America. So, in order to protect the freedoms recognized by our Constitution, we need an Article 5 Convention of the States to restore the balance of power in our federal system.